We go back to looking at the Beijing Winter Olympics, focusing on Nathan Chen, Chinese American figure skater. So he had, after winning a gold medal, he had been received some hate from the Chinese people on the Chinese website Weibo. And this excuse has been thrown around. Oh, you're not. Oh, you're too white and too Americanized. And this insults were being thrown on the Weibo website, which not really is the most reliable Chinese website. And the thing like he's insulting China. So Nathan Chen's critics have pointed out the support for fellow athletes who have been condemned that the human rights abuses in Xinjiang and his inability to speak fluent Mandarin. Although he can speak it, but he's not fluent, which many people, Asians over in North America, they may not be best at speaking in like the Asian languages. So some people had been comparing him to 18-year-old freestyle skier Eileen Gu and 19-year-old figure skater Zhu Yi. And both of those two were on the Team China. Although technically they were trying to represent China because they still have a Chinese background. They're not do not have American parents. Like they're not white. And it's not the first time we have seen, oh, you're too white or too Asian or that kind of excuse being thrown at Asian Americans. Looking back at the Korean American reporter Michelle Lee, who people with the oh, you're not Asian enough, oh, you're not white enough. Which that's kind of like a word term thrown at people who are of Asian descent is very disrespectful and just rude and just hate. And people need to shut the up. So some Weebos are even there's even acrobatics or a circus monkey. And insulting China and all that. And while some people and are positive towards Nathan Chen support for the American ice dancer Evan Bates, who criticized Beijing for its alleged awful treatment Uyghur people during the interview last year, and yeah, and yeah, that did happen. Don't holding them captive. And apparently, Nathan Chen also received a hate the previous Olympics in South Korea, Pyeongchang Winter Olympics. And he had used a song from Mao's Last Dancer, which is the movie about a dancer who defected to the U.S. from China in the 1980s. And yet he didn't actually know anything about the movie at all, and just like the song. And and the one thing that really helped him avoid that much hate on social media was because he had lack of social media access in China. So and the happy thing for him was because his parents are grew up in Beijing, so. And yet, looking back at Zhu Yi, apparently he had moved from California to Beijing, and she had renounced her U.S. Citizenship, and to yet they were throwing that, oh, you're too American, oh, you can't speak Mandarin enough, and they were throwing that racist and offensive and hate comment at her for that. And they were making fun of her for falling twice during a routine in a women's single free skating event. And everything. Go back to America, and oh, you're bringing you're a shame to China. And yet, while people like Eileen Gu, who had won a gold for China in the women's big air competition, yet the Chinese people were supporting her. And while and she did praise on Chinese social media platforms for being talented in sport, and for speaking fluently in Mandarin, and basically Asian all political issues. And yet these people still have to deal with the, oh, you're not Asian enough, oh, you're not American enough, and go back to China, go back to America. No, that people should respect the background, and if you're going to tell go back to wherever you came from. Basically, anyone who says that to basically anybody, yeah, that's just like a hateful intent, and you should not be doing that kind of stuff. And although they do, all three of them, Nathan Chen, Zhu Yi, and Eileen Gu, all have like a Chinese background. Well, And while Eileen Gu got just a fair treatment, although she's technically hated by most people in USA right now. And it is unfair that Nathan Chen and Zhu Yi are getting hate. And they think that these people think that they can decide for like these athletes to say, oh, you should be on this team because you are American. Oh, or you can usually be because you are Chinese. And well, technically, it is like up to like the athlete to what team they actually want to be for what country. But although not many slots are like taken up, so. And racial discrimination, this kind of stuff, just because of her person is residing in this country, or or they can't speak a certain language enough. That gives no excuse to hate someone of a certain background because they're not fluent in that language. And basically, with people who come from Asian countries, they immigrate to the U.S. and Canada. They back then, you had to assimilate to the Western ways to fit in and to avoid discrimination. But uh, racial racial discrimination still happen, and but nowadays people move over. They're proud of. They're told to be proud of what your culture is, and but that's still becoming a barrier to being proud of. Especially these people. Oh, you're not American. Oh, you're not a Westerner, and that excuse being thrown around. And don't even bother to say, "Oh, go back to where you came from," or or "Oh, you're not fluent enough." That doesn't make you a certain culture background representative. But if they still respect the culture and they still practice that culture stuff, and yeah, they are still of that cultural background, and there's nothing that you can change about them. So that goes to basically and the fault that people on a Weibo in China, and also people in the U.S. Who are being racist and very hateful towards Eileen Gu and Zhu Yi. And this racial stuff really needs to stop. And even Asians are also racist to other Asians too. So and for not being certain Asian enough, and that needs to stop. And that is why we need to actually support our fellow Asian people and not hate on them and respect the decisions.